mean, like the guy I did interview yesterday, he did mention that he was on another website that started allowing AI there, and he said I felt uncomfortable, associating with an AI website now, but he's still posting on Manga Plus creators. God damn it, bro. What's up, y'all? We're back on the Black Swan channel with the podcast reviewing a little video about famous Japanese manga publishers, differences between Shueisha and Kodansha. This was basically a few artists talking amongst each other about their experiences with working with editors in Japan between Kodansha and Shueisha. Rather interesting. So we just watched it, and we'll reference it if need be, but we just won't be sharing our opinion on what they said. So, man, what's your take on what they said about this?
The biggest thing that I heard in the video that stood out to me was the amount of help that each company would give, and like the extreme opposites, where they said Shueisha basically had a hands-off approach where the editors pretty much didn't do anything and they just left it up to you to fail or succeed. And on the other end, they had Kodansha, where you had like 4 different editors, but you might not know what the next chapter is going to be about, or the story. Even the artist didn't know what the story of the chapter is going to be about. So it's like you got one side where it's like we're not doing anything, and you got the other side it's like we're doing everything, and you're still doing everything but not doing anything. So it's kind of confusing to me. You know what I mean? Like I'm like, what's the point? What was the point of having an editor? That's how it's going to work.
That is confusing. This might be a recent thing, because they also mentioned that Shueisha can afford to behave this way because they always get a lot of artists coming in, and I think that shows that they too comfortable, so whatever, there's always going to be people knocking at the door. We got millions of people in the Manga Plus creators dungeon, so we don't really have to be hands-on. And it explains the attitude of the new editor-in-chief of Shonen Jump right now, because even he says, we don't know how things are going to turn out if we publish these things. Okay, why don't you assess, analyze, and do a forecast of like, these are the general predictions. You don't even try to do that, because they're at the point where they feel like, we are unstoppable, got plenty of money, this thing is self-sustaining now, we don't care type thing,
But if that's the case, then what's the point of even having an editor to begin with? Like you could just have somebody who you could have like one editor that just reviews things and then ships it back and doesn't give any. I mean, you got to have some kind of feedback, but I don't understand what the point is.
I think it's to just create employment, maybe at this point in Japan, right? Because I heard somebody say that Dragon Ball is not going anywhere because it creates a lot of jobs in Japan, in the industry. So that's why it's not going anywhere. I'm like, oh, so y'all are okay with producing slop so long as, it keeps a few people employed. What this has become is exactly like that one book called Bullshit Jobs, right? And in that Bullshit Jobs, when I search it on Google, it gives, because I spoke about it before a while ago, it gives categories as to like, okay, these people belong in this category and that category. So looking at the summary here, it says more than half of social work is pointless, both large parts of some jobs and 5 types of entirely pointless jobs. Number 1 being flunkies, which is people who serve to make their superiors feel important. That could be the editor right there. So it's a flunky, because in the video they mentioned how how can an editor come and tell me about how to draw? Why are you trying to, like in Kodansha, why are you telling me how to draw, advising me artistically on things when you've never been to how to draw manga school? What's going on here, right? And they kind of right, because it's like you've never tried to produce the craft. How do you give proper feedback? Now Torishima did not produce the craft, but he sure as heck did indulge and immerse himself in the craft to understand the best ingredients of it. So there's a difference. Number two is goons who act to harm or deceive others on behalf of their employer. That also could be the editor, bro. The Shonen Jump editor in particular, right? It's to deceive you on behalf of the employer, the same way they do it in their dungeon, right? That is a possibility as well. Number three, duct tapers who temporarily fix problems that could be fixed permanently. This is not the editors, definitely not, but we all know this situation about the duct tape jobs. You know, it's like here the power goes out each time it rains, and then they gotta call the guy, yo, go fix the substation. Nigga, just fix it permanently. That's a duct tape job. Number four, box tickers who create the appearance that something useful is being done. That is also an editor right there, right? They have the appearance of something legit being done. This is proper procedure. And you even ask, well, what's the point of an editor then? Why don't they just have one person, you know, write everything to you and give you the feedback? Well, now we know.
Like for me, that was the whole point of me wanting to work with some of the bigger companies in Japan, was basically the potential to work with the editors. And if that's the case, like, let's say like all the people who are on Manga Plus, or like just say even like Rafal Jockey's No Name, did he receive an editor after he won? Because he published on Shueisha, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, did he receive an editor after he was done? Did he get any tips on how to like rearrange the story or implement things to make it more appealing? And I'm wondering, like, the people who win this competition, it's like, if you are getting an editor, which editors are you getting? You know, especially as a foreigner, they're not going to give you the best editors. You know, they're probably just like going to give you like maybe the bottom of the barrel or something like that. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of like fruitless, because it's like you're supposed to use it as a growth thing. Like, most of us don't understand like Eastern storytelling the way that an Easterner would understand it. So it's like, yeah, they might need some coaching. They might to harness or to like reach their potential. It's like they may need these people to give them some direction. And if the case is like you're not going to provide any type of direction, then there's really no point in working for the company, like, unless you're just trying to get like more exposure. But if that's the case, you do that shit on your own. Like, editors were like my main reason of wanting to even just work with the Japanese companies, because of that. So it's like, okay, well.
Yeah, this really is exposing the rot at the very top. This is the pinnacle of decadence at this point, where, you know, the establishments are so broken and fraught at the top, where now, in theory, there should be new institutions rising from the ashes. It's like when the Catholic Church was ultra corrupt in the old days, and then, you know, the Renaissance movement was growing, and they formed new institutions of perspective, power, and so on and so on. And slowly throughout the ages, you know, the institution shifted away from the church entirely. And right now, it's like, well, all the major institutions are owned by, you know, BlackRock and all these other crazy psyop companies. And in theory, there should be something rising. There should be a renaissance on the way. And I would say, obviously, Coffee Comics is that, Black Swan Entertainment is that, but we don't have the backing to make a grand impact through, well, marketing, of course. You know, we don't have the funding for that. So it is a good thing, because we're seeing these people fall apart, And they are always going to drink all the wine before they start panicking, right? They'll always say, let them eat cake before the hobgoblins breach through the gates and want to guillotine a few people, right? So those who are prepared, like some of us, right? We don't need to go guillotine people at the top, go to the new editor in chief and jump and guillotine him. It's like, nah, I am building my own infrastructure. I've taken the principles that built the civilization that is manga, speaking metaphorically here. We've taken that and we brought it in here, reverse engineered it, and we're going to take it to new heights without the corruption. This is actually how things recalibrate themselves. Only issue now is that recalibration is hard when things are so centralized on the internet now with the AI garbage. But it should be setting people free. Those who thought the Japanese had any sauce left, as you can see, bro.
Yeah, like
they don't.
Yeah, like they said through the Kodansha editors, it's like you got 4 different editors, and the guy was saying that he was asking like, oh yeah, what's supposed to happen next week? He's like, oh, I don't even know what's going to happen with my own story. He's the artist. He's like, I don't even know what's going to happen. And he's got 4 editors over, and they're basically deciding the fate of the direction, but he's not even in the loop. So it's like, it's like I'm writing a story. I came up with the story, but I don't even know what it's about now.
This lack of direction is so ironic sometimes. I said this years ago, but I ain't really, there's not much to celebrate. That, yeah, I was right, haha. Like, I didn't get $1 million for being right, So it just shows that they are not going to follow reason, right? And the artists themselves who can express that, man, I don't even know what's going on or where I'm going or how it's going to be. So aren't you frustrated? Because whenever anybody's lost, of course you're going to be frustrated, You're going to be tense. But these people keep doubling down, bro. They guzzle more pills, drink more liquor, and it's like, nah, it'll be fine. No, it won't be. Because when the boat sinks and you freeze to death at the bottom of the sea, who are you going to blame? The captain? The captain was drunk as hell and he had fun dying the way he did. You're the one who wanted to live. He didn't care anymore because he just had all the wine and cookies you could ever imagine. So, bro, we have to blame the artists too. That these artists are so they're so desperate to be coddled by the establishment, even though it's clearly against them.
Yeah. Like I said before, Shueisha maybe only published serialized one person, I think, foreigner before, or maybe 1 or 2, and Kodansha the same. So it's like the opportunities pretty much aren't going to lie there. They may publish a few people going forward, but where are those people going to go? Like, they're not, if they're not going to help them with editors, or are they not? It's just a game, like the whole Manga Plus thing, like a whole bunch of AI works. They're still up there now. They know there's AI up there. I published a story. I put my story on, I think you interviewed a guy yesterday. He said he put his story in there and it got took down. The same for me. I put my story up, it got took down. But they're allowing AI works to flourish on there.
Exactly.
So it's like either they're purposefully posting this stuff, they're allowing it to be on there. I don't know what's going on. But it's definitely time to make a change. And I agree with you. It's like we can start doing that stuff through our companies, through our organizations. And hopefully we need to, we got to save money and make some moves. But it's also, like I say, it's the company's fault and it's the people's fault. The people go to them for this work because they feel like they love it or whatever. And they go to these YouTube pages where they tell them what they want to hear to make them feel good. And they're going to provide that resource. So, yeah, it's just, I guess we just have to figure out how to make our little niche, because I'm definitely not going to make stories. If I had a company and I was an editor, I'd be super hands-on just because I enjoy it. So that lets me know, are you not hiring people who enjoy this craft and not enjoy storytelling and enjoy wanting to further the industry?
Exactly.
So yeah, I don't know.
Now that's what definitely seems like that's the case. Um, I mean, like the guy I did interview yesterday, he did mention that he was on another website that started allowing AI there, and he said I felt uncomfortable, associating with an AI website now, but he's still posting on Manga Plus creators. God damn it, bro, man, it don't make no damn sense. Ah, damn it, bro. So I don't know anymore.
People just
Yeah, go ahead.
People are fishing. They no matter what, it's that glimmer of hope. They feel like this company has this reputation. They created all these big IPs, and there's a glimmer of hope. They're selling you the glimmer of hope. They're showing you that we're posting a whole bunch of AI on here. We're taking people's stuff down. Individual creators are telling you they're getting their works taken down, and they're leaving AI up for long periods of time. Even some shit is even up there getting awards. So it's like, let people continue to contribute to a black hole. They know what they're doing. They're not stupid. But if the average person wants to continue, like, we're in America. Why isn't somebody coming up with a company? Like, where is Dark Horse? I mean, not them, but where are we? But, why isn't there an industry that is doing what Manga Plus is doing out here? And it just doesn't make sense. So it's like, you can't really follow it. I mean, if you want to post there to get your work across for some reason, somehow you luckily get picked up, they might pick you up because of your artwork, and then they're going to put you in a dungeon, and they're going to make you do a specific type. They're not going to let you work on your custom story with any meaning in it. They're going to make sure they put you to work to do, like, assistant work. Exactly. And that's probably where your career is going to end.
Exactly. And what you said about Rafal Jockey, he definitely didn't have an editor to tell him what's up. Because in general, No Name was just not, it just did not belong in a Shonen Jump magazine. It didn't. It didn't have the three pillars of a Shonen Jump product, hard work, friendship, and battle. It wasn't. It was like a psychological thriller, rather
seinen. It would have fit better in Jump.
Mm-hmm.
It would have probably fit better in Jump Plus. So I think sometimes nowadays they've been doing crossovers. They've been adding some of their titles from Jump Plus into Shonen Jump.
Either way, it did not belong in there whatsoever. It felt too much like a Netflix show. But the editors didn't say anything. They were like, whatever, it's Rafal Jockey, I'm just going to stamp this as approved, and we're just going to go on with our day. These people are just sleeping at the wheel, bro. They're sleeping at the wheel, and they don't care. The level of decadence that we all live in now is just so insanely high. But these people who can have the awareness that, I know there's AI there. I know the awards are fake. I know the views are fake. But I just believe. What the hell do you believe? You believe that you're going to be taken and put somewhere good for you? Give us an example of one person that worked out for. Didi Mark is that one person who got picked up by an American company only to end up rotting in a dungeon that is the Dark Horse dungeon right now. So the people just don't want the truth. They got to keep lying to themselves.
Yeah, like even when you did the video about the dude, like the Vinny Hacker dude from the Kodansha publisher or whatever. It was like, when you look at this story, I read through it, and I'm like, did they not? They just basically allowed him to submit a story, and then they didn't have any input on how it should be adjusted or anything, and then they published it, and that was it. And then just because of like popularity, or it's like, whoa, what the fuck is this? Like, there's no editing problem. I mean, he actually went up to the office. I saw the video he did on his channel. He went up to the offices, he sat with the people, and they just decided to publish it based on what? Where was the strong main character? What was the theme? Where was the twist? I didn't see any of it. I didn't see any of the standards that they supposedly hold themselves to. And so basically they just published the guy because he's popular, and he can bring in new readers. So I'm like, okay, whoa. It's kind of wild, but this is the current state, like you say, current state of decadence of society.
Mm-hmm. That's where we are. Dude has 14 million or 2 million followers. Y'all, he seems all right. Let's put him in there, blah, blah, blah. And then it's a failure. But it seems now they're being a bit smart where they allow such a popular person to be on their site as a one-shot. assess the views. But the problem is that you can assess the views, but the views are not the best assessment. If this guy has 1 million followers, he probably going to generate 300,000 views, drive 300,000 people to the website over there. And if that is the testing ground, that's like, yeah, this is something we can print, we can serialize. It doesn't work like that. It's dumb. You know, they've lost so much touch with reality, bruh. Like, and they don't care. The real problem is that there's too much money that they have. They can afford to fail for at least another decade consistently. They can afford to. They can get bailouts from BlackRock, bailouts from Marubeni, bailouts from the government. You know, they don't mind being in a giant bubble because every country has been in a bubble since the beginning at this point, right? And we're still functioning. Crash after crash. That video I made on the channel about the comic book manga industry did crash, but it wasn't like the Great Depression crash where people are starving, or the 1983 video game crash where Atari took their game cartridges and buried it in the Mexican desert. Because a crash back then looked like that. A crash now can be hidden through a facade, through fake traffic, you know, bells and whistles type thing. It's hard to gauge what is now because of this new damn genjutsu that social media can put people under. So it's quite a predicament, but it's definitely not worth it anymore to pursue the Japanese if they don't adhere to the standards that they brought to the table. What are you going to get out of it now? And actually, having these guys talk about this in the public, it's becoming more and more apparent that the Japanese are being more vocal about what's going on in the industry. You know, like that one person who committed suicide because they got screwed over with payment, with ownership of their product. They tired, bro. Being authentically Japanese doesn't even reward the authentic Japanese anymore. The authentic Japanese person is put aside for an immigrant, put aside for PSYOP games, dungeon games. And it's like, why am I holding on to the Japanese code when you people who are Japanese at the top, you're not enforcing the code and you're not rewarding those who uphold the code? So now they're like, you know what, we're going to talk. We're going to tell people how they treat us because we're not being rewarded for our sacrifices anymore. It's a good thing, I would say, at this point.
I would say I'm sure there are some good editors. I'm just hypothetically saying because I don't know. I'm sure there are some good editors left, and they probably just saved them for like people who already have like who are already established or have some kind of potential, and they just like keep those people on the back end where all these other like little people who get signed, they just give them like whatever editors or don't really do much for them at all. See, they got to keep their hits, you know, once they got a hit, they got to keep that shit going, you know?
You're going to be surprised then when I drop that video with the Japanese complaining that the One Piece editors aren't doing their job. What the hell's going on type thing. Bruh, it is Armageddon up in here, bro. I'm like, yeah, what is going on? We know, but the people who still going to be in denial, well, you're going to miss the opportunity to do and be part of something grand. Like being committed to a sinking ship is crazy.
Yeah, for sure. Like definitely people who are like posting to these sites, it's like, you know, see what's in front of you. I mean, you might, maybe, you know what it is, they might get a little bit more social media exposure when they post on the site, so it brings them more traffic. Then you got to figure out how to monetize that. How do you monetize that traffic that you're getting? Like, are they coming to your, are you getting paid through ad revenue? Or are you getting paid through physical copy sales? That's the hardest part. It's like you can get the followers, but then how do you break that gap between people using their money to make a purchase? And you can't, the company is not necessarily going to pay you, so you're going to have to figure out how to do it on your own, whether you're going to have to team up with people or you're going to have to go be a slave or whatever the case may be. You got to come up with a strategy, because just posting on a website is not going to get you traffic, but it won't necessarily get you money. So maybe people were just going there to get like exposure, and then they'll maybe get commissions, or maybe they get exposure and then they'll go do shows. I don't know, but you definitely got to have more of a business mind. If you actually want to see longevity in the industry, you're going to have to create your own shit, or you're going to have to work with people who want to create some new shit, for sure.
Yeah, and the majority just are not business minded, nor interested in the in understanding the business side of things. It's honestly really childish, juvenile at this point, man. And I'm like, I'm so tired. You know that guy Tapir? He did respond in the comment section when I made that video about that Famine Con, and he said, "Your description of my channel being gay and juvenile is very accurate. Thank you." And I'm like, you see? You see? And I said, yo, bro, hop on for an interview then. Hop on. Did he take the opportunity? No, he doesn't care. He knows what he's doing, I guess, or he's happy acting gay and juvenile. And I'm like, that's fine. Do whatever you want, right? That's how you're building your brand. That gay and juvenile vibe is what got you in that convention. So be it. You don't really have product like that. I mean, he got one shot, but that's not why he was chosen. Because you got a body of work, you know, and a few other people got a body of work and they didn't get chosen. So I don't know what's going on here. Ultimately, it's
like blackball shit. You know what I mean? They want to keep, like you say, it's like the people who tell a real story, they're gonna want to keep you out. You know, they don't want the truth. They don't want the real shit. They don't want you to change things in a productive and positive way. They want you to be a certain kind of way. They want you to have a certain type of message. And if you don't, they're going to make sure that you don't get any exposure to people outside of who you can reach on your own. You know, that's just what it is. This is the world we're living in. It's a war of ideology, and a war of power and slaves and shit. So, you know, it is what it is. You know, you just keep pushing. You don't let one situation stop you, because like you said, I don't really know much about the dude. I've watched maybe one or two of his videos. Maybe he was being sarcastic when he said that. Maybe he wasn't. You know, I don't know. But I mean, you're saying that you feel like your page is gay and juvenile, then, you know, if that's what you're about, then stand on that. You know, I don't know. Like, I wouldn't even comment something like that. You know, it's like,
exactly. So,
you know,
the key here is that he's not serious. He's not serious. The people sponsoring or funding these conventions and whatnot, they want people who are not serious. They want you to be juvenile and gay. And it's right there. That's what they want, bro. So don't be serious. Be childish. Be juvenile, right? Act a certain weird, sussy way, right? Never be serious. Never be committed. Just be floppy, right? Be weak. Be passive. Man, it is crazy. Like, civilization was not built with floppy fish, mama boy, cookie eating, milk drinking mother suckers. It was built with people who wanted to sacrifice, who were ready to sacrifice, who had foresight, you know, who committed to an idea. These people don't commit to ideas anymore. They commit to vibes, you know. And they'll die and protect a vibe that can change at a drop of the hat. As soon as the music goes off because the power went out, or somebody cut the cable, the vibe's different. You want to be committed to a vibe that can be extinguished as quickly as switching the power plug off? That is crazy. Ideas are eternal. Ideas are immortal. Ideas are bulletproof and power cut proof. That's what you got to commit to.
Yeah.
You know, so
I think nowadays I don't think a lot of these people, I don't think they really have a story to. They're not really trying to leave a story behind. They're not really looking at a story to like change people or to impact people in a certain kind of way. It's just they're just creating something temporary so they can get, like you said, praise and accolades, and then once they die, that story just goes into the black hole. This is just another story that didn't make an impact, that didn't say anything, and those are the people that they're opening their arms to, and then they create more as time goes. They just bring more and more and more of those people, but the real shit's gonna shine through. You can try to stop it, you can try to block it, you can try to keep people out, but that somehow, whether I'm dead 50 years from now or whatever, I just know that I left something that I thought had meaning to it. So, and when you die, you're gonna have a story that I guess you think it has meaning, but I don't know, some stupid shit. I don't know. I don't trip on it. I just allow people, let people create what they want to create, and just keep fighting the good fight. It's not going to be easy for the people standing on what's proper, what's right, standing against the powers that be at times. This shit ain't gonna always turn out for the best, but it is what it is.
And if I sniffed out that sissy boy weakling in somebody, I'm gonna be like, you know what, man, I can't work with you. I did reach out to somebody. He's got very good work, and he did that ghosting garbage, and I'm like, dude, I'm reaching out to you for a opportunity where you can get paid. You still post on Manga fucking plus creators, and you haven't received a goddamn dollar. And somebody reaches out to you with an opportunity, right, to even be paid, to be part of something that stands for something, not for random, empty, mediocre entertainment and shallowness, but something real. And what do? You do some ghosting garbage, and I'm supposed to take somebody like that serious, or I'm supposed to beg this person that, hey man, are you ready yet? Do you feel better today? Did mama make you the cookies? I hope you took your meds today. Like, man, how are you going to run a business with people like this? It's just so sad.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like, for them, they would rather be sold a dream than sold a business. It's like, working with me, you're going to have to do work. It's going to cost money. It's going to cost time. It's going to be a risk. They would rather go somewhere where things are for certain. It's like the average person doesn't want to start a business. They'd rather do a job because they just got to show up. They don't have to invest their money. They don't have to take risk. They don't have to think outside of these parameters. And when you come to them with an opportunity, it's like, no, I want it. And they feel like, okay, I'll go to Manga Plus because I could be on the big stage. I could be in Japan. I could be here. I could be doing this. So I'm going to post here with the intent of doing this, where this guy over here, he can't offer me these things. And I'm not willing to build this for myself. So I'm willing to just put things into a black hole with AI and everything else there, just so I feel better. Like, I'm getting more attention on social media. I'm getting more followers. And that's the end of the line.
Thousands of followers.
Maybe get commissions, but
not even if they get commissions. Like 14,000 followers is not $14,000. You can get a commission here and there, but that's still not even going to be half of $14,000. So as you said, these people would rather be sold a dream than to take the opportunity for themselves. And because it's still early in the year, I'm going to bury that in my mind, in my subconscious, so that it can be automatic. That if I smell looks like you just want to be sold a dream, bro, I'm out. I'm leaving you behind, right? I'm not going to knock on people's doors for opportunity, to give them an opportunity. How rare is that, right? It's very rare for people to knock on your door to give you an opportunity. I suppose it always goes back to these people just don't believe in themselves. They don't believe they can build anything on their own. They'd rather be a slave to Massa, and Massa will make sure that they won't eat tonight if he feels like it. That he won't beat their ass tonight.
And it's like it's like a self-starter thing. It's like, okay, I feel that this website is producing AI content. I feel like this website isn't giving people the exposure that they're due. I feel like the awards is kind of like the view count is not necessarily transparent. So, hey, I'm going to create something outside of that. It's like, okay, like, people should participate just to, like, help to see another site grow who's being authentic. Maybe they don't like you, whatever, I get it, but, yeah, I mean, it's just somebody's taking some kind of step to to out. I mean, it'll make them step their game up. That's the problem when they see someone stepping outside of their programming, they're gonna have to improve. Like they see something that's coming up, they're gonna say, "Oh shit, we shouldn't do these fake view things because we got people leaving." But until people start thinking for themselves, which is, I don't think it's gonna be likely. They're gonna just keep doing the same shit. But yeah, definitely. I think people, and if it's not your site, somebody come up with an alternative and invite people. Like start fucking. You got all these people on YouTube, all these people Manga drawing on YouTube, and look at my drawings and shit. It's like, dude, you guys get together, start a fucking business, and start a thing where you can get people in there to look at people's work and fucking do your own shit. I don't know, but I mean, you can. Like I said, I would like to work with the Japanese editors and shit like that just to see how good they are and what I could learn from them if they are good. But outside of that, it's like you got to do your own thing. Like you got to create your own businesses. You got to like put your time in, put your money in. It's like you can't be scared to fucking like industries weren't created based on people who had fear. Like the people who came to the fucking Americas on a boat, they had to come through. How many people got caught up in storms? How many people had fucking holes in their boat? And then the people who landed here, they had to fight to, I guess, conquer the land. So it's not no fucking easy task.
Exactly.
Exactly. Yeah, dude. So.
Oh well, y'all. That's it for this one. Don't be a sissy boy. Don't be a hunchback, and don't just be a passive consumer. Honestly, everybody who's watching this, surely it's because you either are actively creating your own work, you want to. I won't speak for the haters, or there are some of you who are just on the fence, just sitting there, receiving cash from Walmart or wherever you work, but forever feeling unsatisfied because you haven't made the step to try and actually control your life. If you can't do what you like, you say you like drawing, you enjoy it, but you don't do it often, how are you in control of your life? How are you even living your life? You can't do what you like. You are the most disingenuous individual alive, right? So don't be like that. But yeah, like, subscribe, share, and don't be a hunchback.